Hi guys, I just want to talk about Lawrence. So the problem with Lawrence is that he spent a lot of his time being used and abused by women. And because he had spent a lot of time being used by women, he had actually started building up a lot of anger where he was not willing to accept that women were going to use him for his resources, right? He also considered himself to be someone who is deeply loving, someone who is thoughtful, and someone who wanted to start a life with his now deceased girlfriend. In fact, he had actually paid lobola for her, which essentially means this was his wife. So imagine a situation where you have your wife shares their goals and dreams with you, and you start pouring your resources into her, right? Because he says he spent a lot of money pouring resources into her, and at some point even forgave her for cheating, where she eventually fell pregnant with another man's child. He accepted that child and, embraced the relationship and forgave her. But their relationship seemed to have a lot of toxic elements in it, and the parents also came forward where they spoke about how they had to intervene multiple times in their relationship because their relationship was extremely toxic, right? And it also seems as if he was actually planning to unalive himself, and he was planning to do what he did, and hence we are told that he actually started giving away some of his possessions to show that this person was actually planning to do what he did. So the situation that is most crucial here to understand is that we're dealing with a person who poured his resources into someone whom he believed he was going to share a future with, right? And despite his efforts, it seemed as if, things were not working out. And if we're looking at a situation where there might be possible abuse, it also came out that he actually ran this lady over with his car. And for some reason, they ended up claiming for RAF. And when the money came through, this woman decided that she didn't want anything to do with him, which essentially means that her getting this money was her ticket out of, dating him or being with him. Which then brings us to how some women will actually date men for financial gain. And once they are okay financially, they want nothing to do with these men because they realize that having their own money actually buys them the freedom they need to have in order to do things that they want to have. So we could also be dealing with a situation where she might have been abused emotionally and financially, and when she received this money, she then thought this is her ticket to freedom, right? However, we have seen a lot of cases where a lot of men will pour their resources into women believing they have a life together. We've also seen that situation where, this guy built this mansion for his woman and his woman cheated, and he got a demolition truck to run that structure down. And basically he was not willing to accept the fact that this woman cheated, and he decided to, demolish that house, right? And we've seen and heard of many other cases where men will invest money into women, invest resources into women who later break up with them after getting their qualifications or after getting what they want. And unfortunately, there are men who don't take kind to rejection, and they don't take kind to being cheated on, especially after putting in the amount of resources that they would have put in to that specific relationship or that particular relationship. So in the case of Lawrence, he said he spent a lot of money on this woman. He forgave her countless times and even accepted her and her child after she had cheated on him. And we take it that now he was tired of being played. And I think, unfortunately, she actually became a sacrificial lamb, in that this man probably had been used by a lot of women before, and she was actually the straw that broke the camel's back, where he was not willing to accept that another woman was going to play him like that, right? And we also heard stories of him saying they broke up and she wanted him back, and his girlfriend dumped him, and now he had no choice but to be with her, and she had no choice but to be with him because she had obviously played a role in his breakup with his new woman. The other thing that is important to note here is that, when you are released from an abusive guy, or you are released from your relationship, some women don't understand that that is actually a blessing. And in this woman's case, when she got released from him, that was her guardian angels protecting from the imminent fate they saw coming. The fact that they thought she should leave and they gave her an opportunity to leave means that they saw that this was coming, and she didn't know that this was coming, and she instead decided to go back and eventually met her fate, which was this guy unaliving her. The problem now is that when we are looking at this situation and we see how some of this money can be used as a method of control, or when someone does something for you, this means that women must be loyal to these kind of men who look after women. And I'm thinking about a situation where sometimes men, when men look after us, some of them are not thinking about how you owe them loyalty. They're thinking they providing for their women. They're thinking they're looking after their women. They're thinking they are investing in the relationship for the benefit of where the relationship is going, right? And some women miss out on seeing the blessing in that regard, because some of them maybe are focused on their own needs, and some of them are focused on achieving what they want to achieve, to the point where they can actually miss the fact that this is actually a blessing. You get women who from the onset will know that they are using these men for money, and they actually have no true intentions of building anything solid with these men. And eventually when they get their qualifications, or when they achieve the goal they wanted to achieve in terms of using these men, they think it's going to be easy for them to live with these men, to leave these men. They think it's going to be easy to cheat on these men, which is never the case. Most men don't take kindly to being used. Most men don't take kindly to being cheated on, and that's why we see some of them going through these extreme measures of unaliving women, because they feel that these women are not loyal, and after everything they had done for them, these women don't know how to thank them, right? And that's where the issue of ownership comes into effect, where sometimes people do things and they want to get things in return. They feel they own you. They feel, a sense of entitlement after they do certain things for you. So one never really knows how to handle these things, because at the end of the day, when you take a life, you not only take a life, but you now create debt in your bloodline. You create a situation where your bloodline is now responsible for the soul of taking someone's soul, and that becomes a huge debt in the spiritual realm, right? And the fact that he hung himself also becomes a debt to his own bloodline, because they are now going to be dealing with a spirit that is roaming, because obviously this person shortened his life, and he shortened the life of his now deceased girlfriend or wife, because they were married. And of course, spiritually now they were one. They have to now negotiate how they are going to sort this issue out, because when the plan to marry came about, it was never about the imminent death of their daughter, right, in the hands of someone who was supposed to protect her. So these kind of situations are actually very deep, and I actually don't know how women are going to deal with, receiving gifts from men, because men are definitely not willing. Some men are not willing to accept the fact that, they can pour resources and women can just walk away scot-free after benefiting what they benefited from men. And I think it's also an issue of deciding whether, or actually looking deeper into the issue of understanding whether some men understand what provision is, and whether when you provide for your woman, does it necessarily mean that you own this person, or does it necessarily mean that you are just doing what you are doing because you love the person, you want the best for the person, but that person doesn't owe you at the end of the day, and that person can decide to leave, and you basically forfeit what you did. And maybe it's time to look at it in a situation of saying you did your best, you gave the relationship your all, but what a person decides to do with the blessing that was you is really up to them. And that's why some people, after cheating, they struggle a lot in their new relationships, because they would have missed out on the blessing they had, and the relationship they would have been in. And as a result of that, they may feel that they will probably be in a good place when they date other people, and that's not necessarily the case. So this thing is very deep and it's very hectic. But this whole concept of marriage also, where they will tell you, till death do us part, I think that saying alone is starting to look as if there's a curse of some sort in relation to that line, where a lot more people are unaliving each other after marriage. And this one really has to wonder who came up with it. Why did they come up with it? Because it's starting to look to me like it's a curse more than it is a blessing. And maybe you can let me know what you think in the comment section, because if we are having a lot more people unaliving people because they feel that they were owed loyalty, how many more people are going to come out and unalive other people, based on the fact that they had done certain things for those people, and now that these people don't want them back, they feel that they should take their life? Where do we draw the line between loyalty and actually walking away when something is no longer serving you? I think it's something that we can discuss further. But let me know what you think in the comment section, because this is heavy, right? This is so heavy. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section. And yeah, I'll see you on the next episode. Love you guys. Bye.